In the early hours of July 4th, 2025, as Texans prepared to celebrate Independence Day, the skies over central Texas darkened ominously. What followed was a meteorological onslaught that would become one of the deadliest natural disasters in the state's history. Fueled by the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry, a mesoscale convective complex formed over the Texas Hill Country, unleashing torrential rains over a 12-hour period. Some areas received more than 20 inches, over 500 millimeters, of rainfall in less than half a day. The saturated ground, combined with the region's steep terrain and narrow river valleys, created a perfect storm for catastrophic flash flooding. The Guadalupe River, already swollen from previous rains, surged an astonishing 26 feet in just 45 minutes, transforming into a deadly torrent that swept away everything in its path. The epicenter of the disaster was Kerr County, particularly the towns of Kerrville, Hunt, and Center Point. These communities, nestled along the Guadalupe River, bore the brunt of the floodwaters. One of the most tragic scenes unfolded at Camp Mystic, a beloved Christian summer camp for girls that had welcomed generations of campers for nearly a century. On the morning of July 4th, the camp was hosting 750 children when the floodwaters struck. As of July 7th, at least 82 people are confirmed dead, including 28 children, with dozens still missing. The death toll makes this the second deadliest flood in Texas history, surpassed only by the 1921 flood in San Antonio. Among the victims were Reese and Paula Zunker, a high school soccer coach, and his wife, whose 2 young children remain missing. The tragedy has left entire families shattered and communities reeling. At Camp Mystic, 27 girls remain unaccounted for, and the body of an 8-year-old camper has been recovered. Survivors described the flood as a pitch-black wall of death, with no warning before the water engulfed their cabins. "I woke up to screaming," said 14-year-old camper Lily Thompson. "The water was already at my bed. I grabbed my sister's hand and we ran. I don't know how we made it out." Emergency responders from across Texas mobilized rapidly. Helicopters, boats, and drones were deployed to locate survivors and recover bodies. Over 850 people were rescued in the first 36 hours alone. Search teams scoured riverbanks, overturned vehicles, and debris fields. In some areas, rescuers had to turn over rocks and sift through mud to locate missing children. The emotional toll on first responders has been immense.
Back out here in Leander off Brown Mountain.
"There is no higher priority than finding those children," said Colonel Freeman Martin of the Texas Department of Public Safety.
There's just stuff everywhere.
On July 6th, President Trump signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County, unlocking federal resources for rescue and recovery. Texas Governor Greg Abbott expanded the state's disaster declaration to include 6 additional counties, including Behar, Burnett, Caldwell, Guadalupe, Travis, and Williamson. "We won't stop until we find every girl who was in those cabins," Abbott said during a visit to Camp Mystic. "The devastation here is unlike anything I've seen in any natural disaster." Texas Hill Country is often referred to as Flash Flood Alley due to its unique topography and soil composition. The region's shallow, rocky soil doesn't absorb water well, and its steep valleys funnel rainwater into rivers at alarming speeds. This flood was exacerbated by staff shortages at the National Weather Service, which had lost over 600 employees in the first half of 2025 due to budget cuts. Critics argue that the lack of experienced meteorologists may have delayed critical warnings. Vigils have been held across Texas. Churches opened their doors to displaced families. Volunteers brought food, blankets, and comfort to those who had lost everything. At a candlelight vigil in Kerrville, Pastor Maria Delgado addressed a crowd of hundreds. "We are broken, but not defeated. We will rebuild. We will remember every name, every face, every child." As the waters recede, the true scale of the disaster is only beginning to emerge. Damage assessments are underway, and rebuilding efforts will take months, if not years. Environmental experts warn of long-term ecological damage, including erosion, contamination of water supplies, and destruction of wildlife habitats. Meanwhile, families wait for news. Some cling to hope. Others begin the painful process of mourning. The July 2025 floods in Texas are a stark reminder of nature's power and of our shared vulnerability. But they also reveal the strength of community, the heroism of first responders, and the resilience of the human spirit. As one survivor put it, we lost so much, but we still have each other. The hill country is notorious for flash flooding, given the high number of narrow valley floors and proximity to potential tropical events from the Gulf. This event was partly triggered by the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry that hit Mexico on Sunday, June 29th. The atmosphere was loaded with water vapor from Barry that moved north into the middle parts of Texas. More than a foot of rain fell in less than a 12-hour period starting Thursday and going into Friday morning. This massive rain fell over a large part of the western Guadalupe River basin. Kerrville and west into the town of Hunt are the headwaters of the river. The destructive, fast-moving waters rose 26 feet in just 45 minutes before daybreak Friday, washing away homes and vehicles. The danger was not over as torrential rains continued to pound communities outside San Antonio on Saturday, and flash flood warnings and watches remained in effect. Searchers used helicopters, boats, and drones to look for victims and to rescue stranded people in trees and from camps isolated by washed-out roads. People need to know today will be a hard day, Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring, Jr. said Saturday. Please pray for our community. President Trump signed a major disaster declaration for Kerr County on Sunday morning as Abbott visited flood-damaged areas. Abbott encouraged all Texans to pause in reflection and prayer Sunday, and to also seek God's wisdom, peace, and mercy in this time of need for so many Texas families. On Saturday, Abbott said that 850 people had been rescued in the past 36 hours. Rescuers scoured flooded riverbanks littered with mangled trees Saturday and turned over rocks in the search for more than 24 children from a girls' camp and many others missing after a wall of water blasted down a river in the Texas Hill Country. Martin said there are still unidentified victims at funeral homes that include adults and children.
I'm out here in Leander.
At least 81 people are dead, and at least 10 are still missing from Camp Mystic in Kerr County, a children's summer camp, officials said Sunday. Colonel Freeman Martin with the Texas Department of Public Safety said Sunday that there is no higher priority than finding those children.
We're out here looking. I'm out here with some electric guys, but this whole neighborhood, everything's gone. There's a house. There's a